Hello and welcome to Monday Night Paranormal Live with myself and Jenny Paul from Host for Ghosts, Angela from South Coast Ghosts, Luke, one of our investigators, and Dora, lead investigator. And our very special guest tonight is Michelle. Michelle's going to talk a bit about growing up in a haunted house and a pub. And funny enough, Michelle's a nurse. So we might get to hear some sort of strange things that might have gone on when she's been at work. So obviously bear in mind, be no names, addresses or anything given out, but it's just Michelle's experience. So we hope you had a great weekend. We did. Hi, Christine. Good evening. So we hope you had a great weekend. So here we are back. We thought we'd do something really different tonight. So Michelle's going to talk a bit about growing up in a haunted location and a pub and etc. So if you have any questions for Michelle, put them on the screen, Angela, or drop them on, and we can try and answer. If we don't know the answers, we'll certainly find someone that does know. So bear with us. So if you want to ask Michelle a question, please drop it on the screen and we'll do our best. So tonight, growing up in a haunted house. Wow. So welcome, Michelle, to Monday Night Paranormal Live.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Hello. So the first question is, I've forgotten what the first question. I've just had a blonde moment then. Look, well, I say blonde, a bald moment. Tell us a bit about your growing up in a haunted house then, please, Michelle.
Yeah. Well, growing up, I guess it would have been, probably sort of 13, 14. I lived in a modern home, relatively modern home, which was built over a site of a boarding school for boys. I don't think I'll be able to say the name. It is quite a historical place before the building was demolished. And I suppose over the years, I think about what I've seen. It still lingers on my mind, what I've seen. And growing up in the house at the time was scary because I didn't understand what was going on. Yes, I was scared. Other family members had experienced something which, other family members were level-headed. One family member doesn't believe in anything, and that's absolutely fine. Growing up, experiencing things, you're witnessing pets experiencing things, and when I had a cat at the time, and she would look up in the corner of the room and her head would go from side to side looking at something up on the ceiling of a room. It was growing up there. I think, looking back, it was a little scary for a young girl at the time. I suppose the things that I experienced growing up, I think the first one I saw, and I still query it to this day, but I know what I saw was waking up in the middle of the night, and then my bed was against the wall. I had my own bedroom. I was fortunate enough in that. And so there was no one else in the room that can come in and out. And I would wake up to find a shadow, a black shadow at the foot of my bed. I wasn't scared. It was quite peaceful. There was a definite outline of a head, the neck, the shoulders, and probably the upper part of the trunk and the waist, but it was a solid figure. I couldn't tell you if it was male or female. And I saw that figure twice. I couldn't tell you the timelines or anything because being, a teenager, I was getting on with stuff with school and stuff. So that was my first experience, and it's so vivid to this day.
Did anybody else see it, Michelle?
Well, other members of my family, and funny enough, I've just spoken to my daughter just now, so I don't know if it's all linked, but I'll come back to what my daughter's just told me a bit later. But of course, I kept it under my hat, as you do, because you're trying to explain what's going on, and I spoke to a neighbour, and nothing became of that. So I think it was years later I spoke to my brother about it, and he's very much head on his shoulders kind of guy, no nonsense. But he opened up on that he could sense somebody coming up the stairs. And something would stand in the doorway of his bedroom when he was asleep of a night time, and it would just stay there until he went to sleep. And I thought, wow, I'm wondering if this was the same image I saw, but at the foot of my bed instead, actually in my bedroom. I don't know. Yes, I didn't discover that until years later when I opened up to my brother about this. So yeah, that there was definitely something there. Had other experiences. I couldn't tell you in what order or what timeline because it was so long ago now. I suppose another significant positive form that I saw. Again, I was in my bedroom in the house that I grew up in, and I was getting ready to go out of an evening, and I was putting my makeup on in I had a full-length mirror, and something made me turn round, and I turned round, and I was facing my bedroom door, and I could see on the landing a little boy, and I thought, oh. Which I can still see it now. I can still see his face. I can still see his uniform, the colours he was wearing, and but you couldn't see the eyes. You could see the paleness of the face, and he was just standing there looking at me. And I blinked, and he was still there. Then I blinked, and then he'd gone. And I thought, crumbs. Again, how old was I? I couldn't tell you. I was probably in my early teens then, or maybe, no, my late teens or early 20s. It was around about that time. And again, curiosity, am I seeing things? And I thought, right, well, at the time, I worked in a nursing home locally. So on my next shift, I went in and I spoke to a resident who was very familiar. I grew up in a village, so this resident was very familiar with the history of where I used to live with the boarding school for the boys. And I just wanted her to confirm the colour of their uniform, and she confirmed the colour, and it was the same colour I saw the boy on the landing.
Wow.
And I thought, oh yeah. And of course, with these events, you don't forget things like that. So that has very much stuck with me over the years. So I think that was the one and only time I've seen him. I assumed it was a boy. I couldn't see any hair. Just the colour of the uniform and the eyes and the pale skin, as I am now, but with dark holes for the eyes. Yeah.
Did that not freak you out?
No.
Oh.
I'm a little bit older now, and able to handle these things a bit better. But I think I just needed that confirmation from somebody, such as identifying the colour of the uniform, that I knew what I was seeing was, I knew what I saw.
Yeah.
Because I still doubt things, I still think about it. Yeah.
Have you ever researched to find out if you could find out the name or who he was, or he or she, why they were there?
I did. But the actual site of the boarding school, the history of the place is stored somewhere quite famous. So one day I will go along and have a look. And I'd love to see the pictures and maybe some of the children. So from that point of view, I haven't done any research because I've moved away since. Even though I do go back to the village to see family, but we don't live in the house any longer. No family members live there anymore. So, but I still go back to the village from time to time. So one day I will go and research. That'd be quite fascinating. But from the spirit point of view, I did see somebody many years ago. I saw a clairvoyant. This was my first time, and I suppose it would have been about 12 miles away, 15 miles away from the property where I lived at the time. And during the reading, she pointed out that there was a boy who stays with me. And I'm linking the two together, and all I know is his name is called James, and he does hang around me quite a bit. He's quite mischievous. And that's all I know. Whether that's linked into the same school child I saw, I really don't know. Yeah.
What age would you say he was?
Oh gosh. I want to say 9. Definitely not a teenager. I think it would be something around 9 or 10, maybe. That's what I'm sensing, but I couldn't. Certainly not a teenager, and certainly not an infant school age. So again, that's again, that stayed with me for a long time. So it James or maybe another child. I really don't know. So,
any questions, Anja?
Yeah. Did you hear any sounds or like people talking that might have been them?
No, I've never heard any movement, no sound, no smell of perfume, nothing, nothing like that. I just turned around and there the school child was. I'm assuming it's a little boy. I don't know what happened to him. I'm assuming he's in the spirit world. And I don't know if any accident happened at the school, or I really don't know.
Did you try talking to him, saying, like asking his name or asking why I was there, or just saying, hello, I can see you?
No, no. When you see something like that and observe something like that, it's a shock.
Yeah.
And you start thinking, am I going crackers? am I crackers? And you do, and I still question it to this day. But I know what I saw, and you do, and I can see his image in front of me now from what I saw. But yeah, I've never heard voices. I've never heard chattering. Nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Would you say that's the same person that was the shadow at the end of the bed? Would you think it was the same person?
I think that was a different person.
Right.
I think that had more of a female energy.
Okay.
I'm guessing, yeah, because I think when I went to see the clairvoyant, I mean, it was many years ago now, that I wanted to know what I was seeing in the house, and she confirmed that the shadow at the bottom of my bed was a woman who had died of a heart attack. And I didn't know of any woman, so I don't know if this woman was attached to the house, or attached to the land or the boarding school. I don't know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but at the when I look back, when I saw the shadow, I wasn't scared. But there have been times when I would sense something, I have been frightened because of what I was experiencing. You know something's there, and you don't know how to manage or try and think logically about it. And it can be scary at times. So much so, I had a friend stay over at one point, and he was experiencing the same thing. I had a very dear friend, and there would be like these gushes of wind from nowhere. When this happened downstairs in the lounge, and I mentioned my cat at the time. She would look in the corner of the room again. This was in the lounge, just looking at nothing. We couldn't see anything, and her head would move side to side. And that was scary because you knew something was there, but you couldn't see anything.
And would things go missing in the house, or?
No, nothing untoward. Doors didn't slam. There was nothing nothing in that house that would indicate the cupboard's door didn't go or nothing like that. It didn't feel like a poltergeist activity, nothing. It was just these images that would just present themselves to you, and the wind and what pets were looking at. And the cold. I had cold patches as well. Really cold, which was unusual.
Same time of the year? Would it be different times of the year? Would it, did it go on year after year, or just stop after so many times?
That I couldn't tell you, because when things happen out of the blue and it takes you by surprise, I'm just trying to think. I think the wind was definitely at night time. I think it was quite late at night, actually. It was about 10 o'clock at night. My friend dropped me off, and we stayed behind and had a cup of tea. And then these bouts of wind would come from nowhere, and he sensed it, and I sensed it. And I was actually quite scared, because I was on my own in the house. So he reluctantly stayed the night. He was on the sofa and I was upstairs. Nothing happened to him. Nothing happened to me. There was no further spiritual activity, nothing like that. and I'd experienced that several times, but it would happen randomly. I couldn't tell you if it was a time of year. It was too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Any questions, Anja? Or comments?
Have you experienced things since then, like at other places?
I have.
Oh,
I
okay.
have. Yeah. I've had a couple of experiences. Again, I would. I had a boyfriend in my early 20s, and he would let me drive his car home. I passed my driving test, but I didn't have my own car at the time. And so he lived in the next village, probably about 5-6 miles away from where I used to live. And he would let me borrow his car so that I could get home. And it was an old car, and I would often feel as though I was being watched from behind me. And I mentioned this to him, and he said, yes, that would be my grandfather. Apparently, the car that I drove belonged to his grandfather.
Oh, wow.
And you just get this feeling of being watched. Yes, it was freaky, and I got home as quick as I could because you're going down country lanes. But it was only a 15-minute, 20-minute drive, and I had that. And my boyfriend at the time confirmed that he had the same as well. So that was interesting. But that was only a feeling of being watched. I never saw anything in my rearview mirror, nothing like that. There was nothing on the back seat. I think probably would have crashed the car had I seen anything.
Yeah, I think I would have crashed and all.
Yeah, I think I just remembered that one actually. I had another experience, which actually is incredible when I look back. I was with friends. I've got the cat next to me, and I'm watching him very closely. His ears are getting like the compass, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's something here." You're right, Zig. Oh my god. You're
You'll
a
be
good boy.
fine.
You're a good boy. Yeah, he's focused on something in a room.
Oh.
Right. Another experience was in a pub. Again, I was in my early 20s. And it was quite a well-known pub. Again, it was in a little village. And it's now no longer a pub. I think it's a dwelling now. But the history at the time was someone was murdered in the orchards to the back of the property. And we'd heard rumours that this person who sadly passed away liked to remove jewellery. Oh. So my friends and I, we went to the pub, and it's the same friend who I went with who stayed overnight at the house because I was petrified when we were experiencing. So he was there, along with two other friends of ours. We used to hang out in a group, and we went to this pub, and naturally we got talking about spookies and ghosties and stories and things, and we were recalling this events that happened in this pub. We were on our own at one side of the pub by the fireplace, and I've just got really cold all of a sudden. Oh my God, Cat, what are you doing? He's just hopped up on the windowsill. What happened was, I jokingly said, "Oh, I had a bracelet on at the time and a watch on at the time, and it was a silver bracelet." And I jokingly said, "Oh, why doesn't this ghost, remove my jewelry and blah blah blah." And we were talking about it, and then I went up to go to the loo and came back. And as I opened the door to go back into the pub, it was facing the table where my friends were. And at that point, I saw a beer mat come down. My friend screamed, and I was with another female friend, and she screamed. And I thought, oh my God. We all witnessed that. So they witnessed the beer mat flipping up from the table. And as I came out of the loo, I saw the beer mat fall, and it was a good foot above the table for this beer mat to disappear. Not disappear, sorry, just to land on the table from nothing. There was nothing there to do it. And at that point, I looked down at my silver bracelet, and that was fine. But the watch I was wearing was turned round the other way.
Wow.
I had not touched it. I fiddled with my watch. It was an elasticated watch at the time. And I swear to God that I haven't taken it off to turn it round. It was worn as it should as a watch. And then when I looked down, my watch had turned round the other way.
Oh, wow.
So the face was upside down. Yeah, it turned round. It was an oval watch on an elasticated wristband thing. Yeah. And that, yeah. And I think we left shortly after that. Pretty quick.
But you didn't feel anything on your wrist then? You just noticed it had turned?
No,
Oh,
I
wow.
felt nothing. There's a possibility I could have put my watch on the wrong way, but I know I didn't. Yes, I fiddle with the elastic of the watch, but I definitely didn't take it off when I was with my friends and put it back on again. I fiddle, I pulled it, but never taken it off. I never take anything off when I'm out. Yeah.
And what did your friends think of that when it happened, when you all rushed out? Did you sort of think, what was that? Or you just...
To be honest, it happened so long ago. To be honest, I don't recall. I don't think we spoke about it after. We were quite scared.
Yeah.
We know what we saw, and what happened. But it was so long ago that I can't recall any conversations. I mean, we're talking about 27 years ago now, roughly.
Did you
I
ever
just
go
remember
back to the
that. No, I didn't after that. I've driven past it, but now it's dwellings now. It closed down, and it's now 2 pretty little cottages. But no, we never went back after that.
Wow.
No.
Any
So,
comments, Angela? Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it? When you experience and see it, you actually see it yourself. You sort of defies logic, doesn't it? You just think, what?
yeah,
How could that
it
be?
does. And I'm glad I was with other people because they saw the same thing. Again, you question things.
Yeah.
And it was good to have witnesses there to see the same thing. Yeah, I can only tell you what I've seen and what I've observed.
And have you seen the little boy or the shadow since they sort of got to an adulthood, have you seen this apparition or spirit again since that time?
No. I haven't. I moved away from the property, oh gosh, coming up nearly 30 years ago now. So I've since been back to the property. I've walked around to see if I could experience anything. But I've not seen him before. None other than if it was him that came through via the clairvoyant that I saw. I haven't seen anything since. No.
That's strange.
Yeah.
So it was
I've
all
seen.
concentrated in one area.
It was at the top of the landing of the stairs when I saw the boy. I have seen. Ah, yes, I have seen. How can I explain it? Sometimes it's difficult to describe. Again, the boyfriend I was with at the time, the same one whose car I drove, we were at the bottom of the stairs inside the house, and it was quite late at night, and the lights were off, except for the porch light by the front door. And I happened to look up and I saw, I can't describe, you could see someone walking up the stairs, but you only saw the feet, but they weren't feet. It was, I can't describe. You saw, it wasn't a shadow, it wasn't, but you could see the feet going up the step, each step, and then it disappeared when it went to the top.
Oh.
And we both saw that, and we were quite freaked out. Like that. Yeah,
I think I'd be freaked out not seeing the top half, just a
I
pair of
think,
feet.
yeah. Yeah, he quickly went home after that.
How funny.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that until then. Yeah. I think I didn't see anything in the garden. There was nothing in the gardens, none other than what a friend's dog experienced. We were dressed up in Halloween stuff, and I went back. I was dropped off at the house, and I went to get something from the house, and then my friend's dog was waiting in the car, and it was growling at something in next door's garden opposite where I used to live. They had quite a large patch of lawn, and the dog was focused on something. I didn't witness this. I could only tell you what I've been told. And the dog was growling, focusing on something on the lawn. So that could have been something. Maybe nothing. I don't know. But I've not seen anything outside of the house at the time. Nothing. It was just inside the house. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Any comments, Angela?
Not yet, but I got another question. In the house you were growing up in, do you know if any of your neighbours experienced things as well?
No. The neighbours at the time were quite elderly, so we didn't really interact. I knew a lady across the way. I used to work with her. It wasn't really a subject that I would approach with some people, because it's not the sort of thing I would openly speak to anybody about, because maybe I don't want to be deemed as a fruitcake or anything like that, because you still question these things. So I wasn't open. I was open with a neighbour, but they were heavily religious, and that scared me off totally. Again, I was very young then. So after that, I didn't say anything to anybody. And as I said earlier, it was quite a few years till I opened up to my brother about it, and then he told me what he'd experienced in the house. That was the only thing that he did experience. So no, I didn't. None other than confirming with a resident I used to look after who knew the boarding school. I hadn't opened up to anybody
And you
at
never
that time.
spoke to your parents about it at all? You just thought, no, I better not? Or
I spoke to my father. My mother had passed on, so I don't know if it was anything from her. I don't know. But certainly I spoke to my father, and he's not very open to this at all. He's a very straight down the line kind of man, and I appreciate that. So I knew I couldn't speak to him about anything like that. He doesn't see, feel anything like that. So I know not to express any feelings on that with him, and I respect that for him.
yeah,
Ow.
yeah.
I don't know what
Ghost-dragging
it's doing.
investigations. But being a nurse, have you ever had the feeling that some spirit energy is still looking for help?
Oh, bless. Funny enough, I haven't, but I have experienced some things in one hospital I worked in. I've experienced two things with patients. One at the nursing home that I used to work in, and there was one experience at the hospital. The one in the hospital where I worked at the time, I would get, I would see again a shadow. It was in a corridor round by the back of theatres, and again, it was late at night, coming towards the end of my shift, and so I had people around me, but not at that time down this corridor I was walking down, and it was a corridor that ran parallel to theatre, and I saw a black figure, again, just the top half, and it was in a split second, and I looked back and it was still there, and then it would gone. That, you know, it would just disappear. And of course I walked through the double doors and there was nobody there. Yeah, I can't explain it. I experienced that twice down that same bit of corridor. There were rumours that a boy haunted the theatres, but there were only rumours. This figure was not a boy. It was very much an adult feel to it. That was the only thing that I experienced. I don't know if it was a link with the figure I've seen at the foot of my bed. I don't think so. I don't get that impression. And I've had feelings of being watched. When I was working at the back of the theatre, we'd have a little room where the instruments were being, you know, where you clean your instruments, where they go through various stages. And I remember being watched in there, and I had to leave that room pretty quick because it was quite intense and I was quite frightened. But I didn't see anything, nothing moved, nothing. It was just it was a horrible feeling, actually. So I just left pretty quick.
Did any of your other colleagues sense that?
I can't remember if I spoke to anybody. There was a colleague I used to talk to about spirits. We're quite open. He hadn't witnessed anything, but he knew there were rumours of a boy haunting the theatres at the time. But I've never witnessed anything, or there was nothing.
Oh, wow.
From that point of view. So yeah, that was my only experience of anything out of the norm that I saw in theatres. Yeah.
Nice. Luke, Dora, do you have a question for Michelle? Looks like Dora's going to say something. You're on mute, Dora. do you have a question for Michelle?
Can she hear?
She's on mute.
She is on mute. Yeah.
Yeah. Your microphone's turned off, Dora. Luke, do you have a question?
Yes. Do you feel stronger energy in the hospital?
Funnily enough, no.
No.
No. No, I think when you're going about your day-to-day business, you're at work and you're getting on with your job, you're focusing on your patient, and you're with your colleagues. There's so much going on that I haven't really experienced anything apart from what I saw down the back end of the corridor. So no, I've never experienced anything else. Seen anything else. I've not even felt anything, actually. Come to think of it, there was nothing other than a rumour of a boy.
Mm-hmm. Dora, are you back with us? Dora?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you have a question for Michelle?
I remember Michelle told me story about you was with friends in the car and your friend ran outside of the car down some road. You said they've been stories about shadow figure being showing on the road 1 o'clock in the morning, and you all waited in both cars. You remember?
Oh, yes. Oh, gosh. Yes. Oh, my word. Yeah, that was something. I nearly said the name of the place then. This was, oh, gosh. How old were we? I think we were in our mid-20s. We hung around, again, I hung around in a group of friends. Aside from getting a career, I did do something. One of my friends spoke of seeing something along a particular main road. Am I allowed to say the
You
number?
want to, yeah.
Okay, it's along the A272 in Sussex, and there were rumours around that a figure of a lady came out onto the main road, and she disappeared off the road. Her clothing, she would wear a cloak, and that's all we knew. And apparently she came out at 3 o'clock in the morning. So my friends and I, after a night out, there was no drink driving involved at all. That we had two cars. So the car, I was with a friend, and then our other friends were in another car. And we would drive up and down this particular part of the 272. And we did this quite frequently at 3 o'clock in the morning. And at the time we had CB radio contact in the cars. Can you see me at all?
Yeah, yeah.
My picture was distorted.
No, it's
It's
fine.
normal now. It's normal. Yeah, we did periodically go up and down this particular part of the A road at 3 o'clock in the morning, as you do, and of course we would communicate over the CB aerials, and you know, it would be disappointment after disappointment, but we pursued. And one Saturday night, one Sunday morning, one car would wait further up the road, and then one car would wait further down on the other end of the road. And our CB aerials were the signals had all of a sudden there was a high pitched squeal, and we're like, oh god, what was that? So and at that point, this figure came out on the side of the road. I didn't see it at the time because I was focusing on the CB. And then I looked up, and my mate said, "Oh, there's something there. Can you see it?" So his car pulled up right next to the figure, and it was running, and it ran past the side of the car, and then again, being in the countryside, it went down this footpath down in the middle of a twitton. So my friend's car reversed up, and he shone a torch down the footpath. It was pitch black. There's no street lights whatsoever. And he saw this thing literally run down the footpath, and then just disappeared. It was at speed. The next day, you know, we were all quite hyped up at what we saw. Well, my friends were knocked on the houses that were nearby and asked questions, but we didn't hear, we didn't get any explanation. You know, we saw somebody run down, and we decided to run down the footpath, and it was physically impossible to have run down at the speed that this figure went because of tree roots poking out. You would have fallen over quite easily, tripped up, and it would have been physically impossible at the speed that this thing was running at. I only saw it on the side of the road very briefly, and it appeared to be a woman in a cloak. I don't remember much from that event apart from what friends were talking about after. There was a lot of smirks from neighbours when we went round. Nobody confessed to anything. And that was it. That was the last I saw of anything in that area. Yeah.
Oh, any comments, Angela? Questions?
No more comments at the moment.
Okay. Questions? Dora, do you have one, or Luke for Michelle?
No.
I remember also a story you told me. You worked in. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Story you worked in hospital that time, and I think one patient wasn't aware or was passing, and you see that big light going up.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. This was when I was working in a nursing home, and a very dear patient had passed, and we were all in his room, and you know, we were saying a prayer and just paying our respects to this wonderful man. He was a lovely man, and I just happened to look up. I had my head bowed in respect of paying respects, and I saw what would be it was a green. There was a green light around him, and it rose up. So from his head to his feet was the entire length of his body. Something rose. It was a green, not a mist, aura.
Right.
I want to say an aura that rose up from him. It was a beautiful green, and it lifted up probably about a foot and then just disappeared.
Wow.
I was the only one that I was aware of that saw it. I kept quiet. I didn't see anything. Made no extra. We were paying respects to this gentleman, and that I felt privileged actually to have witnessed that.
So
yeah.
did you feel comfortable with it, being
I
allowed to
was
see
very
that?
I was very comfortable with that. I wasn't scared. I was in awe. I couldn't believe what I've just seen. And I now see it as a privilege of when someone has led a life and passed that, I don't know, maybe it was his spirit leaving the body. I don't know. I can't explain it. I couldn't tell you none other what I saw. Yeah.
So when you came on your first paranormal investigation with us at Fort Brockhurst, did you feel reconnected back with spirit then? Because that was the first time you'd done one, isn't it?
That was the first time. Yeah. I think, to be honest, I was actually really nervous when we went into one of the cells. I was petrified. I wanted to leave. I think I told you, Dora, some time after that I just wanted to hold someone's hand.
Yeah.
I was quite scared, and I was in a room full of strangers. And I just wanted to run to safety. I was petrified. But after that, you just have to calm yourself and think, no, come on, Michelle. And we just got on with the evening, which was brilliant. I loved it. I think, was I reconnected back to the spirit? I think my senses were heightened. I personally didn't see anything. But I heard the 3 knocks when we were in that room. I can't remember whereabouts it was now in the fort. And again, we were questioning it. Was anybody there? Sorry? Oh, sorry.
That was in the cell.
Yeah.
In the cell.
Yeah. I probably felt something, but I wasn't sure because it was a cold evening. And probably we were quite tired. It was quite, we didn't leave till about 1 o'clock in the morning or thereabouts.
Right,
So I think none other than feeling quite scared at the beginning of the investigation. It was just curiosity. And then when the cat ball was placed on the shelf in one of the cells, and it was going off, there was no explanation for that. And I actually approached it, and there was no wind. There was nothing that could have touched that ball for it to go off. They're quite sensitive, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I was just gobsmacked at that. Absolutely brilliant. Loved it. When there's no explanation, there's nothing, that could have touched it, and yet this ball was just constantly flashing and going off. That was amazing. That was really amazing. But I didn't feel anything. Maybe it's because it was in a room full of people. Had I been there on my own, I don't know if I could have done that on my own. That maybe I would have felt differently. But I think when you're in a crowd, I couldn't sense anything. I don't know.
Seeing the ball flash like that, it's quite visual, isn't it? It's not as though someone says, "Oh, can you hear that?" You can actually see
Yeah.
it for yourself, can't you?
Yeah.
It's a very visual thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I videoed it and I've still got it on my video, and there is nothing around the ball that's touching the ball.
Right.
There was a metal mesh behind on the shelf. There was nothing that would have touched that ball. Yeah, that was incredible.
It's great when you get visual evidence like that, especially if
Yeah.
you're asking for it. And
Yeah.
also, you know, have a look in the video, because I was in the other group. You were with Dora and Angela, their group. I mean, you know, looking at the evidence for the plasma ball where it stopped, and you had the
Yeah.
spike. I mean, again, another visual good bit of evidence, really.
Yeah, you could see instead of the usual floating around of the energies inside the ball, it was as though somebody was touching that little bit of energy was focused on one spot, as though somebody was touching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was incredible. Again, you can't explain it.
No, it's one
You
of
can't
them.
explain it.
It's unexplainable, or it's paranormal, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
It's in between, isn't it? Really, it's unexplained, but not quite paranormal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you've
That's
seen
it.
the fingers on the top suddenly appear in the dark,
Yeah.
then you know you could have gone for that, couldn't you? But
Yeah.
very good evidence.
Yeah.
It's very well set out.
Yeah.
And you enjoyed your evening all the way around the fort in the different areas? And
Sorry, I missed the beginning part of what you
Sorry.
said.
Was there specific parts of the fort you found more interesting than others, or did you just generally think, you know, this is an all-round, you know, this is what I expected, or is it more than you expected?
It was more than I expected because of what we experienced with the knocks and the cat balls, and I love places of historic, you know, lots of history. I love all of that. So just to be there in itself, that was amazing. You know, with the history of the place, I really respect the past, and I think I just enjoyed the whole entire evening.
It's quite overwhelming sometimes, isn't it, when you walk in there and you feel a part of it. You know, that was built in Napoleonic times. So when you walk in there and you think, oh my God, you know, this was built however long, hundreds of years ago, and yet I'm standing inside where the soldiers would have stood.
Yeah, these men were our front line, and they were armed and they were fighting, you know, defending our country, and I have a lot of respect for that. Very brave men in a beautiful building, incredible. And you know, I just wish I could go back in time sometimes. I think the sleeping quarters where we went to, that I think was that the sleeping quarters, the last room that we all met up at the end.
Yes, that's right.
I would dearly love to have seen something there, but you know, it was all quiet, wasn't it? In that room.
Unfortunately, I had my hopes up that we would hit C or hear something, even if a blanket had moved or something had happened, you know. But
or something fell on the floor, or
anything,
but nothing.
It just suddenly went dead, didn't it? In that room, I'm not sure quite why.
It was still. It was very still.
If you think that fort would have held up to over 2,000 soldiers, I think she said that would have been there at any one time.
Yeah.
So it would have been a very busy fort, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
This time.
Yeah. Very busy, very active.
Very privileged to see the cannons as well.
Yeah.
Because she said they would uncover the cannons for us. So it made it look, when you sort of walk around, you think, wow, well, you know, this is a few hundred years old.
Yeah.
You can imagine how many men have walked up and down, and, you know, the tragedies that could have happened there, because they would have had children running the cannonballs and the gunpowder and all of that around Reading, weren't they, for an invasion? So, and it was used during the Second World War, I understand, as well. So Yeah, quite a place. Quite a place. But Angela, what did you think of it? You've been to a few forts anyway, haven't you? So
Yeah, it was good. It was quiet in places, but what we did get was good stuff. It made it exciting.
And you, Dora, what did you think of it?
I think as we visit more, it will get more active.
Because
We did have a,
asked.
you know, as a
Sorry.
first time investigation there. I think it was good, but I think they will open up more to us as we go more.
Yeah, I mean, we have been speaking to them about using more of the fort next time, but they're sort of rebuilding a lot of the ramparts and the cells by the ramparts where they would have run the guns up. So once they're finished, we'll be obviously the exclusivity to us, and we could be able to spread out and use the ramparts and all them parts and the other cells on the opposite. So I think did she say June time, Dora? They would be open.
Summertime, should be ready for
around
us.
about the summertime. So we might be able to squeeze one in there during the summer. It's nice and warm. It's daylight for a lot longer, isn't it? So, Luke, what was your impressions of the fort?
Yeah, it's really good, especially the cells. You felt a lot of energy in the cells bit.
That's where we kept seeing someone look round the edge of the door, wasn't it?
I remember that,
yeah. And we saw that amber light going down the corridor. We couldn't work out who was out there.
Yeah.
It's a very, very great place. I think, like Dora says, a lot more to come. So would you go on another paranormal investigation, Michelle? Is this sort of quirked your interest now?
Yeah. I think, was it the 25th of February, March?
When was
the
it,
next
Dora?
one is
March, isn't it, Dora?
in March.
April, 25th of April.
25th of April.
Just confirmed it today for us. So 25th of April.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
I think
we do that one.
Friday night.
Saturday.
We'd be looking forward to going back there. So would you say, Michelle, this sort of tweaked your interest in the paranormal? You sort of think, oh, I want to learn a bit more about this.
Definitely. I still question what I see. I know what I saw. And I think, it does get your mind going. Is there life after death, or are they, do the spirit come in and say hi and then go? I've had messages from spirit via a medium twice now, and they are relevant to family, and so that there's something. I think what we witnessed at the fort on the last investigation, it definitely gets your thinking cap on, and it's exciting.
Yeah. So we will be releasing it online. Obviously, we're a non-profitable group, so everything we make on the night will go back to the English heritage to obviously keep the history alive. Because, like we say, once we lose that history, we've lost everything, really.
Yeah.
And if you truly want to, if you're inquisitive or truly want to experience the paranormal, come to Fort Brockhurst, because it's a beautiful fort in itself. Just to be inside it is a privilege, and they're working hard to keep the fort going. So, young children growing up can see the history, because once we lose that history, we've got paper and pen, haven't we? And that's it. But when you're actually there, it takes on a completely different persona. And it's also different, isn't it? When you're there in the day, then suddenly you go into the darkness. It takes on, you do your lit walk around, but when the lights go out, you think, oh, this has taken on a different type of aspect, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that we'll be releasing tickets to that soon. So if you're interested, keep an eye on the website or on our site, Facebook page, and all of that. We'll put up the links where you can buy your tickets. Remember, it all goes to charity. It all goes to the English Heritage. We don't make nothing out of that night. They've asked us to do a team one maybe a bit earlier, so just for her team in there, because they're very inquisitive. They stopped myself and Dora when we went there on an open day and asked us about the ghosts, didn't they, Dora? Do you remember?
Yeah.
So they're very inquisitive, the
They was
volunteers that work
interested.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully we could do them a team event.
So we're doing that one for free for them as well.
Yeah, so that'll be free. So we'll take them around. I think some of them, because they're volunteers, don't see that side of it at night. They lock up at 6 o'clock or wherever and go home.
Mm.
But when you stay on after that and it takes that different daylight, that persona on, it becomes a different type of place in the dark.
Mhm.
Anyway, any more questions?
And also
for
they
Michelle?
got stories to tell as well.
Yeah, because remember, they lock up at night. And the lady we deal with actually sleeps on site sometimes. So she's very
Brave.
brave.
Very
That's
brave.
what. But when we asked her, she said she'd never seen anything, did she, Dora?
Well, if you're not open to it,
Yeah,
you won't see it. Or
interesting.
hear it.
I think it's an interesting place, and there's a lot more to come from it.
Mm.
A lot more. I think they got to suss us out as much as we're sussing them out.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's all in a good cause, to keep the fort operating as a museum and part of our history. So sorry, Andrew, was there any comments?
Nope, we're all good.
Quiet on the comments tonight. It's unusual, isn't
Yes, yeah.
it? Probably watching Coronation Street or something, no doubt. Anyway, so I'd just like to say a great big thank you from all of us on Hit Team to Michelle for coming in tonight and spending the evening with us. Very interesting stories. I hope you were okay with it. You enjoy it?
I'm very okay with it. Really enjoyed tonight. Thank you for having me, and thank you for listening to the experiences. Yeah.
I was really interested to get a different perspective of it. We only see it from our point of view, but when you get someone that's actually grown up in a haunted location, I mean, it's haunted where we live anyway, but we never grew up with it. But it's very, very interesting talk. So brilliant. So just big thank you to Michelle for spending her evening with us. Thank you, Luke, Dora, and once again, Angela. Well done again. And obviously, we'll be back next week with an international paranormal star all the way from Poland. So tune in. We won't tell you who it is, but we've given you a few hints. So tune in to listen to the Polish ghost stories and growing up as she did. Obviously, it's our big guest and our top investigator of Angela is Dora. So Dora will be on next week talking about ghosts and their experiences from Poland to over here.
Brilliant.
So not that Dora's nervous or anything like that at all. Dora.
No. Go with the flow.
That's it. So Michelle, just stay on after for a bit. Once the closing credits go, just wait there. You'll go off the screen and then Angela will bring us all back on again. So it remains me to say thank you once again to Michelle. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on this show. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Dora. Thank you again, Angela. And thank you, Paul. That's all right. So I'm on one tonight. I completely forgot the first question. That reminds me to say have a very, very safe week. Take care, everybody. And if you're out investigating over the weekend, be careful. Drop on there. Tell us how you got on. And we'll see you all soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.